I turned my basement into a gold mine that produces $50,000 worth of food every year. No soil, no sunlight, no massive investment. Just a few simple setups that grow the most expensive foods on Earth in spaces smaller than a closet. When government inspectors found out what I was doing, they tried everything to shut me down. Not because it was dangerous or illegal, but because it threatened agricultural monopolies worth billions. What I'm about to show you could replace your entire income, using nothing but basement space and plants that sell for more per pound than precious metals. These aren't theoretical profits or get-rich-quick schemes. These are real crops with real markets paying real money for products you can grow in your spare bedroom. But here's the catch. The agricultural establishment doesn't want you to know about these crops because they threaten entire industries built on scarcity and control. When individuals can grow products worth thousands of dollars in their basements, it undermines the monopolies that keep prices artificially high and supply artificially limited. Welcome to where we reveal the farming secrets that could make you rich. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the bell, because what I'm about to show you could change your financial future using space you're probably wasting right now. This is knowledge that agricultural corporations pray you never discover. The first crop that made me serious money was saffron, the most expensive spice on earth. Saffron sells for $5,000 to $15,000 per pound, making it worth more than gold by weight. A single gram of high-quality saffron costs $50 to $100. Most people think saffron comes from exotic locations and requires special growing conditions. That's completely false. Saffron comes from crocus flowers that are incredibly easy to grow indoors. Each flower produces 3 tiny red stigmas that become saffron when dried. It takes about 150 flowers to produce 1 gram of saffron, but those flowers can be grown in a space smaller than a card table. A modest basement setup can produce enough saffron to generate $20,000 to $30,000 annually. The beauty of saffron production is that it requires minimal space, equipment, and ongoing costs. Crocus bulbs cost a few dollars each and produce flowers for decades. The flowers bloom for just a few weeks each year, but those few weeks can generate more income than most people's full-time jobs. It's the ultimate high-value, low-maintenance crop. But when I started selling my basement-grown saffron, I discovered why most people don't know about this opportunity. Agricultural regulators began questioning my operation, demanding permits, inspections, and compliance with regulations designed for massive commercial farms. They couldn't understand how someone could produce premium saffron in a basement, so they assumed I must be doing something wrong. The real issue wasn't food safety or quality control. My saffron tested higher in quality than most imported varieties. The problem was that my success threatened the established saffron import industry. If people knew they could grow premium saffron in their basements, the companies that control saffron imports would lose their monopoly on this incredibly profitable market. So they used regulatory pressure to make small-scale saffron production as difficult and expensive as possible. Licensing requirements, facility inspections, testing protocols, and paperwork designed to discourage individual producers from competing with established importers. It's not about protecting consumers. It's about protecting profits. But saffron was just the beginning. I discovered that my basement could produce multiple high-value crops simultaneously, each generating thousands of dollars from minimal space and investment. The key was understanding which crops command premium prices and can be grown efficiently indoors. Gourmet mushrooms became my second major income source. While button mushrooms sell for a few dollars per pound, specialty varieties like oyster, shiitake, and lion's mane sell for $15 to $40 per pound. Exotic varieties like reishi and cordyceps can sell for over $100 per pound. These aren't rare mushrooms that require special expertise. They're varieties that most people simply don't know how to grow. Mushroom cultivation is perfect for basement production because mushrooms prefer dark, humid conditions that are easy to create indoors. A simple shelf system can produce hundreds of pounds of gourmet mushrooms annually in a space smaller than a bathroom. The startup costs are minimal, the ongoing expenses are almost nothing, and the profit margins are extraordinary. I started with oyster mushrooms because they're nearly foolproof and grow incredibly fast. Oyster mushrooms can go from inoculation to harvest in just 2 weeks, producing multiple flushes from each growing medium. A single shelf can produce 20 to 30 pounds of oyster mushrooms monthly, generating $300 to $600 in revenue from a space the size of a bookshelf. But the real money came when I expanded into medicinal mushrooms like reishi and cordyceps. These varieties sell for premium prices because of their health benefits and the difficulty most people have growing them. What I discovered is that they're not actually difficult to grow. They just require slightly different conditions that most people don't understand. Reishi mushrooms, known as the mushroom of immortality, sell for $60 to $100 per pound dried. A small basement setup can produce 10 to 15 pounds of dried reishi annually, generating $600 to $1,500 from a space smaller than a closet. The mushrooms grow slowly, but require almost no maintenance once established. Cordyceps, prized for their energy-enhancing properties, sell for even higher prices. Premium cordyceps can sell for over $200 per pound. These mushrooms were traditionally harvested from wild caterpillars in Tibet, making them incredibly rare and expensive. But modern cultivation techniques allow them to be grown on grain substrates in controlled environments. The profit potential is staggering. A modest basement mushroom operation can generate $20,000 to $40,000 annually from an initial investment of less than $5,000. The ongoing costs are minimal because mushrooms grow on agricultural waste products like straw, sawdust, and grain hulls that are often available for free. But again, when my mushroom production reached commercial levels, regulatory pressure increased. Health departments wanted to inspect my facilities. Agriculture departments wanted licensing fees. And tax authorities wanted detailed records of every transaction. The bureaucratic burden was designed to make small-scale production unprofitable and force producers to either quit or scale up to industrial levels. The third crop that transformed my basement income was microgreens. Specifically, rare varieties that sell for premium prices to high-end restaurants. While common microgreens sell for $10 to $20 per pound, exotic varieties like purple radish, pea shoots, and specialty herbs can sell for $40 to $80 per pound. Microgreens are perfect for basement production because they grow incredibly fast and require minimal space. A single growing tray can produce a pound of microgreens in just 7 to 14 days. Multiple trays on vertical growing systems can produce hundreds of pounds annually from a space smaller than a ping pong table. The key to microgreen profits is developing relationships with upscale restaurants that pay premium prices for consistent, high-quality products. Chefs will pay top dollar for microgreens that are fresher and more flavorful than anything they can get from commercial suppliers. A single restaurant account can purchase $50 to $100 worth of microgreens weekly. But the real breakthrough came when I started growing rare culinary herbs that most people can't obtain commercially. Herbs like shiso, epazote, and specialty basil varieties sell for $60 to $100 per pound to restaurants that can't source them anywhere else. These herbs are easy to grow, but require knowledge of specific varieties and growing techniques. The profit margins on rare herbs are incredible because there's virtually no competition. Most commercial growers focus on common varieties with mass market appeal. Specialty herbs have small but extremely profitable niche markets willing to pay premium prices for products they can't get elsewhere. My basement herb production generated $15,000 to $20,000 annually from an area smaller than most people's home offices. The startup costs were under $1,000, and the ongoing expenses were minimal. It was pure profit from plants that most people don't even know exist. But success brought unwanted attention from agricultural authorities who couldn't understand how someone could generate commercial-level income from a residential basement. They demanded commercial licenses, facility inspections, and compliance with regulations designed for large-scale agricultural operations. The regulatory harassment wasn't about food safety or consumer protection. My products were tested and found to be superior in quality to most commercial alternatives. The issue was that my success demonstrated how artificial scarcity maintains high prices for products that can be grown easily and cheaply by individuals. Agricultural monopolies depend on convincing people that high-value crops require special expertise, expensive equipment, and large-scale operations. When someone proves that premium products can be grown in a basement with minimal investment, It threatens the entire narrative that justifies monopoly pricing. So they use regulatory complexity to discourage individual production, licensing requirements that cost thousands of dollars, facility standards that require expensive modifications, testing protocols that favor large operations, and paperwork burdens that consume more time than actual production. The goal isn't protecting consumers, it's protecting established producers from competition. If everyone knew they could grow $50,000 worth of premium food in their basements, the companies that control these markets would lose their ability to maintain artificially high prices. But the knowledge is spreading despite regulatory obstacles. Individual producers are discovering that basement farming can generate serious income using crops that most people don't know exist. The internet has made it possible to connect directly with customers, bypassing the distribution systems that traditional agriculture depends on. The equipment needed for basement farming is surprisingly simple and affordable. LED grow lights have made indoor cultivation incredibly efficient and cost-effective. Hydroponic systems allow precise control of growing conditions while maximizing space utilization. Climate control equipment maintains optimal temperature and humidity for premium crop production. The total investment for a complete basement farming setup ranges from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on the scale and sophistication of the operation. This initial investment can be recovered in the first year of production, with subsequent years generating pure profit from ongoing harvests. But the real value isn't just the money, it's the independence. Basement farming provides food security, income diversification, and freedom from agricultural monopolies that control food prices and availability. It's a way to opt out of systems designed to keep people dependent on corporate food production. The crops I've described represent just a fraction of the high-value plants that can be grown indoors for massive profits. Vanilla, wasabi, specialty peppers, rare flowers, and dozens of other crops command premium prices and can be cultivated in basement environments with proper knowledge and equipment. The limiting factor isn't space, equipment, or investment capital. It's knowledge of which crops are profitable, how to grow them efficiently, and where to sell them for maximum profit. This information is deliberately kept obscure to protect established agricultural interests. My $50,000 basement farm isn't just generating income, it's proving that individuals can compete with agricultural corporations using nothing but knowledge, dedication, and basement space. It's demonstrating that food production doesn't require massive farms, expensive equipment, or corporate infrastructure. Every pound of premium food I grow in my basement represents profit that would otherwise go to agricultural monopolies. Every customer I serve directly is a customer that established producers lose. Every dollar I earn is a dollar that doesn't flow through the controlled distribution systems that maintain artificial scarcity. If this opened your eyes to the profit potential hiding in your basement, hit like so more people can discover these opportunities. Subscribe, because we're revealing more ways to generate serious income from spaces you're probably wasting. Share this with someone who needs to know that financial independence might be growing in their spare room. The basement farming revolution starts with understanding that the most profitable crops are often the ones that established agriculture doesn't want you to grow, and that the biggest opportunities exist in the spaces between what's legal and what's profitable. The government tried to stop me because they knew I was onto something big. Now you know what that something is.